Okay, second graders, we're going to be doing 15-6, and it's measuring length. The very first page that we have, it says, or it has 4 problems that we're going to be measuring with cubes and measuring with paper clips. I know that you don't have cubes at home. That is one thing that I omitted and did not remember to put into your boxes. So I'm not even going to have you do this particular page right now. So if you want to just go ahead and go like this and just put free, a little smiley face. Okay. On the inside, we're going to begin reading and doing this activity. It has to do with comparing standard units of measure. Okay. So up here at the top, it says you can use different units to measure objects. Which would you use more of to measure the length of the bookcase? Feet or yards? So when you're comparing these different units of measure, you have to think about how big they are or how small they are. Which one's larger, which one's smaller? All right, measure the bookcase with feet, it says. So when they measure and use their rulers, you'll see that there are 3 rulers there. So it is 3 feet. It's about 3 feet long. Measure the bookcase with yards using a yardstick. It's only 1 yardstick long. Now, if you were doing this in the classroom or at home, I want you to think about which one would be the easiest and most effective way to measure these objects. If we're measuring a bookcase, then we want to use the largest unit of measure. So in this case, a yardstick is much larger than a ruler, so you would use that so you would have fewer to deal with. You only have to put your yardstick up once, measure it, and be done with it. When you are measuring with the ruler, you have to put one ruler up, make a mark, put the next ruler, make a mark, and the third one, and find out that it's 3 feet long. Okay? So the larger the object is, the bigger unit of measure that you would like or should use. Okay? It will give you the least amount of repetitive measurements. Like on here, you had to use 3 rulers, and here it was only 1 yardstick to use it to measure that particular object. It says I use more feet than yards because feet is the smaller unit. So see how more feet were used, 3 of the rulers and 1 yardstick. All right, so let's take a look at this first picture. And this is guided practice, and it says measure each object using different units. And if you'll notice, the units are feet and yards. So your ruler that you have at home is 12 inches or 1 foot. So this is your ruler, okay? A yardstick is 3 of these. So remember that a yardstick is a lot bigger, okay? Because it takes 3 of the rulers to equal 1 yardstick. Okay, so if I'm measuring a chalkboard, are you going to have more feet or more yards? More feet or more yards? So, if we're in school, and say for instance I measure our chalkboard, and I would guess that we would end up with probably about 5 2, It's pretty long. Let's say 5 yards long. Okay, so if it's about 5 yards long, how many feet would that be? Well, for 1 yard, it's 3. So 5, we need 3 added 5 times. 3 times 5 is 15. So it's about 15 feet or 5 yards. Okay? So when we're doing that, we're comparing. So is it more feet or more yards when we measure this? So let's look. Do we use more feet or more yards? We used more feet. Okay? We had to put that ruler up. We'd have to put that ruler up 15 times. And the yardstick would only be up 5. All right, so let's take a look at a chair. All right, so let's say the height of the chair, and we'll talk about maybe at school the height of your chair, probably I'm going to say 26 inches. 26 inches. So let's just say this is 26 inches. Okay, now for feet, 12 inches is 1 foot. Okay, equals 1 foot. So 12 and 12 is 24. So it's about 2 feet. It's a little over 2 feet. So 2 more inches past 2 feet. Okay, but we'll just say round it and estimate it, get close to it. So it's 2 feet. So when we're measuring this chair, are there more inches or more feet? Well, we only have 2 feet. We only used our yardstick, or our ruler twice. And inches is 26, so it would be what? More inches. Okay? All right, let's try and look. Would it be easier to measure the height of a door in inches or yards? All right, think about a door in your house right now. All right, look at a door in your house. Think about it. And would it be easier to use a yardstick? This yardstick, can you see that in that picture? Or would it be easier to just measure it in little inches? Okay. So they're saying little inches or a big yard. How many yardsticks? Okay. So it would be easier to measure the door in what? Little inches? These little inches or a big yardstick? In yards. Why would it be easier to measure it in yards? So if this yardstick did not even have any numbers on it, you could just put it up and say that it would probably be 3 of these. 3 yardsticks. Okay, yards are a larger unit of measure for a large object. Okay, so a door is a larger object, so you would want to use a yardstick for it. So yards are a larger unit of measure for a large object. You could word that differently, as long as you're saying that which would be easier, probably yards. So even if it didn't have any numbers on it, okay, this is a bigger unit of measure. So you could probably just put, you know, one down and put your finger, hold it, put the next one up there, and figure out that it was 3 yards tall. Your door was 3 yards tall. Or you could do the width of it and just slap it up there and go, well, it's about 1 yard going across like this. I can get through the door and it's 1 yard wide. I hope that you're understanding this. And this is an activity, if you get done doing this with me on the video and you're still kind of a little apprehensive, hopefully you've also watched the video online, those little short ones, those little cartoon videos, and hopefully that'll help you as well. But if it doesn't and you get to your homework page, you can, of course, you know, maybe ask your parents for a little guidance or give me a call and say, I need a little help getting through this, Mrs. Elvers. All right, so this one says, number 3, measure each object using different units. Circle the unit you need fewer of. Oh, this one says fewer. So we're looking for the least amount, fewer, to measure each object, okay? This one was more. We used a lot of inches. We used more feet than the yards. This one, we're going to want fewer inches, fewer feet, okay? Which one has fewer? So let's take a look at a book. I'm going to use this book right here, okay? The same one that I've used previously. And I'm going to measure it in inches or feet. All right, so I'm going to take this ruler and I'm going to measure it in inches. Okay, so I'm going to go like this, and it happens to be actually it's past the halfway mark. Oh, you can't see that. I'm so sorry. Let me turn it like this. You can see it better. Okay, I'm going to measure this, and it's past this halfway mark. See, between 7 and 8. So we're going to say that it's closer to 8 inches for this book. Okay. Now, feet. This whole ruler is a foot. This whole ruler is 1 foot. All right. So this book would be how much? Well, let's put the ruler up there. Is it past the halfway mark, which is 6, because there's 12 inches? It's past the halfway mark, right? So how many feet is it? How many rulers would it be? 1. About 1. 1. Because it's halfway, so we'll say it's closer to 1 than none, so, or a half. So it's 1 foot. So which one do we have fewer of? The inches or the feet? We used fewer of the rulers, the full rulers, the feet, so we would circle feet. Okay, now we're going to measure a window. All right, so I could probably measure this window right here. Oh, all right, when I measure the window that's sitting right in front of me, I find out that it is 3 feet wide. And it really is 3 feet wide. And the yards, well, how many of these rulers are in 1 yard? 3. So it would be 1 yard equals 3 feet. So that 3 of these equals 1 of these. So if the window is 3 feet, then that means it's 1 yardstick. So which one of these is fewer? 3 feet or 1 yard. Fewer, least. 1 yard. The yards. So it was easier to measure with yards because you just put up 1 yardstick instead of taking a ruler and measuring it 3 times. Okay? How long is a key? All right, would you say a key to get into a house would be, or to get into our classroom, would be about 2 yards? 2 of these. That's just kind of funny, don't you think? Could you imagine a key as big as this? I mean, 2 times 2 yards. All right. Or 2 inches right here. Or 2 feet. A key being the length of 2 of these. I hope you said 2 inches, because that makes sense. Okay, then on the back it says measure an object in your classroom using 2 different units. So I want you at home, well, let's see, let's do, what can I do? It can be any object. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do an iPad. Okay? And so we're going to measure in 2 different units. So we can do it in inches, which it'll be 1, 2, 3, so all the way to 10 inches. Whoops. Inches. Sorry, I wrote sloppy. Let's fix this. Now, if you're at home, you're going to erase, right? I mean, when you're at home and when you write, because you're not writing in pen. Inches, and then let's do feet. So here's 1 ruler, which is 1 foot. Okay? And I know that it's off of this, but it's more than halfway. So we would say 1 foot. Now it says, which unit would you need fewer of to measure? Oh, which unit did you use more of? Did I use more inches or did I use more feet? Inches or feet? Well, 10 is higher than 1, so inches. I used more inches. Okay? Yeah, I measured my iPad. Looks, boys and girls. See this different color on this iPad? It's because it's a brand new iPad. Sorry, I keep looking into, over here. It's a brand new iPad. Because I was working with my other iPad that I have for school, and I set it on the table, and there was a couple papers underneath it, and it slid and hit the wood floor. Wasn't good, boys and girls. It was not good. Cracked the whole screen. I mean, the whole thing was all cracked. This is a sad, sad moment for Mrs. Albers, because the iPad's like my baby right now. So I had to call to see if I could get it repaired. Whew, no one can do it right now. So I had to go out and buy a new iPad so I could have something to work with you guys on. And I almost didn't get that because it's like no one, Best Buy or no one has iPads. So anyways, got a new iPad, people, to work with you. Number 7, which unit would you need fewer of to measure the table? Okay. inches. Now remember, when we're measuring the table, those are the smallest units, okay? Inches are very small. So would I only have a few of them or a lot of them? So inches would probably be a lot, right? Okay, then feet, okay, which would be the ruler, all right? So the inches, I would probably say, oh gosh, it's going to be a lot of inches for this, okay? And then let's just put lots right here. I'm not even going to guess right now. I'm just going to put lots. It's going to be a lot of inches. Feet, well, if this is a yardstick and there's 3 feet on there, I'm going to guess that maybe this yardstick, let's say it's 6 feet for the table. So 6 feet for the table. All right, we're going to measure this way, 6 feet this way, okay? All right. Then the yards, 6 feet, well, 3 feet is 1 yard, so that would be 2 yards. All right. And then there's one that says all the same. So it says, which unit would you need fewer of to measure the table? Well, which one would you need fewer of? This one's going to, this inches, well, in 6 feet, okay, so 6 feet, 12, I would need 12, 6 times, you guys. Or, those of you that know multiplication, 6 times 12, which is 72. So this would be about 72 inches. So which one is fewer? You're right if you guessed 2 would be fewer. Okay. Now, Shane and Orna want to measure the length of a soccer field in centimeters or meters. Okay, so remember, centimeters are these itty bitty little ones here. Okay, and meters are these big long stick. So which unit is easier to measure a soccer field with? These little centimeters or the yardsticks? Which one's going to be easier to measure a huge soccer field? What do you think? Well, you are right if you said meters. If you said meters. Because a soccer field is very large. So you would want to use a larger unit, just unit of measure. Centimeters would take you forever, right? All right. Now, my code word for you guys watching the video. So on 15-6, you're going to put your name up here, and you're going to write panda. Panda. Like a panda bear. Pan, P-A-N, and D-A. Panda. That'll give you an extra point because you watched the video. Okay? The homework says you can measure using different units. Derek measured the gift box in inches and in feet. The gift box is about 11 inches long. The gift box is 1 foot long. Well, close to it. It takes more inches than feet to measure the gift box. If you use smaller units, you need to use more. So, measure each object using different units. Circle the unit you need more of to measure each object. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. let's see. This is really strange. They both look like desks. So I'm going to let you I'm going to have you put, let's just do table on this one down here. And I'm going to measure, it says in inches, I'm going to measure the table. So those of you that are watching are going to get this. 35 for the table, okay? So we'll call this a table, that we'll call a desk. So 35 for the table, and which is close to a yardstick, so we'll say 3 feet. So which one do you need more of? Yep, that would be inches. Now the other one, I am going to say, and be quite honest with you, it's probably let's see. Hold on, let me check one more time. Yep, probably about 2 feet for this desk. See, we know this one's a desk, and I think that one's a desk too, but we're going to call it a table. And then I'll measure the stuff I have at home so that we can do this side together. Okay, so 2 feet is about how many yards? Well, it's not quite a yard, you guys, but it is past the halfway mark. So we will say 1 yard. So which one did you use more of? More feet or more yards? Okay, more feet. So you would circle. Now, if you don't circle the correct one based on what our answers are here, you won't get the points for that. Okay, so it's all about watching the video. All right, now these, you're going to measure a book at home. You're going to measure, we're going to have you measure your TV. Whoops, your TV at home. We'll just call this a TV. I know it's an easel, but you don't have that at home. So I'll have you measure a TV at home. Then you can measure a book, okay? And you could do your math book. You could do your math workbook. Measure your math workbook. Math workbook. I shouldn't be writing on that. Okay, and then a chair. Measure a chair you have at home. And then this one, a desk. Now, I don't care if it's a big desk that maybe your dad or your mom has, or a little desk that you have. So, see, measure a desk at home, okay? All right? All right. And if you need help, this is kind of a struggle. This is kind of a little more difficult one. Work with your parents on this particular activity, okay, boys and girls? All right. Well, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.